Hi, Dr. Heather here from Wellspring Chiropractic Lifestyle Center. Today we're talking about low back pain, and I want to give you some tips so that you can protect your low back. One of those tips is all about sitting. 54% of people that struggle with low back pain are desk workers, meaning they're sitting all day long. And that might include the commute as well, and that might include getting home from work when you don't have to be sitting, but being exhausted because you've been sitting all day, and then you just sit some more. So I want to show you what's the healthiest way to sit. If you do have to sit, the healthiest way to sit is to make sure that you are lifting up your tailbone before you sit down. So I want you to think of yourself as if you were a cat with a long tail. The rule is you never want to sit on your tail. So you're going to lift your tail up before you sit down. And then once you're sitting down, we want to rotate the pelvis forward. And so that means we're going to need to actually lift up one cheek, and we're going to stretch the tissue of the thigh, stretch it back behind your sit bones. And you're going to do that once on either side. And what that does is it rotates the pelvis forward beautifully. So you actually do have to do that pulling part of it. It's not just lifting the tail up to sit down. You actually have to do that we call it the Tush Pull Sit, each time you sit down. And that actually gets you set up for sitting so that you should be able to then just let your spine kind of stack right up over the pelvis and the sacrum. And you should feel like, if you're doing it correctly, you're going to feel like you don't need to lean back against anything. So usually if you sit on something that has no chair back to it, you're going to start to slump and wish you had something to lean against. But if you do the Tush Pull Sit properly, then that goes away. You're just stacking up over your spine. So it's really important to consider all the different places that you're sitting. So definitely when you're sitting at work, but also in your car, do your little Tush Pull Sit before you drive away in your car. Make sure that the seat of your car is up to as close to 90 degrees as possible. And these are all the ways that you're going to protect your spine if you do have to be sitting. Remember that the low back, it should have a good forward curve in the lumbar spine, and that's kind of like the idea of a bow and arrow. And so you want to have that curve there. If when you're sitting you are straightening out or even slumping backwards and reversing that curve, then that puts a lot of stress and strain on the muscles in the low back. So having the proper curve and sitting the proper way is going to protect your spine so it stays stable and those muscles don't get all tense and worn. So I hope that you found that this was useful. And remember that you want to teach this to everybody that you know, because if all of us are doing our Tush Pull Sit, then we're all going to have healthier spines. And remember, the poor posture, it can accumulate over time. And I'm seeing this in more and more people, especially in younger and younger folks, that we're really losing the posture and the integrity of the spine, and it's leading to wear and tear. In fact, we're now finding that degenerative changes in the spine are starting earlier and earlier. And in fact, 9% of 10-year-olds are now showing up with degenerative changes in their spine. And I think a lot of it is posture. So just learning how to sit properly can go a long way with protecting your spine. So I hope that you found that this was useful. And if you did, and you're curious about whether we can help you to protect your spine or your kids' spines as well, then please click on the link below. We have a new patient special that you might find useful. And I look forward to meeting you then.